gentlemen, for joining us today. And I'm Bob Haag. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Crystal Group. Very honored to be here today talking to you guys about rugged artificial intelligence on the edge. Crystal Group is a small company in the middle of the United States. Our home is Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We're a company of about 250 people, and actually each of the employees own part of the company. So it's a built-in benefit when our customers are satisfied, we all benefit. Our business model is about taking commercial off-the-shelf equipment. In this particular case, think Intel motherboards, think Cisco switches. We take that equipment, we ruggedize it so it can survive in a very harsh environment. That's going to be the core of what I'm talking to you guys about today. The whole conference is about Internet on the edge. We are focused on that sub-segment of the market, and the IoT devices need to survive in a very tough environment. Usually where people aren't happy to be there, think the boot of a car, think power substations, think oil wells, think out in the environment, and even the military. My goal today is to share with you some of the things we do to make sure the AI or machine learning platform survives in that environment. Before I start though, I thought it was really interesting that about a week ago today, actually our host, Open Systems Media, did a webinar with Intel. In this case, Rich Nass was actually interviewing one of the Intel executives, a gentleman by the name of Jonathan Luce. Jonathan's the general manager of Intel's IoT planning group. And there's a couple of points he talked about relative to AI and the edge that I think are really important that will fit in our context today. First, Jonathan shared that artificial intelligence is the means of how we help our customers make better decisions, help them manage workflows more effectively. And then he was asked by Rich to explain, what does the edge mean? And I thought it was really cool because he coined a new term for me when he said, the edge is really now the intelligent edge, because we don't just have sensors and a little bit of processing. We have processing, we have storage, and a lot of application. So we really have all the elements of a little factory at the edge. So I'm, with no pride at all, I'm going to use his term today and talk about the intelligent edge in a rugged environment. And of course, that's a big, big deal as the applications get bigger because the network can't handle the throughput needs of the factories on the edge and nor the latency. So with that said, let me take you through the agenda we're going to cover today. First, I'll give you a little bit more context on who Crystal Group is and what we do and how we focus on that part of the IoT market that's out there in the harsh parts of the world that have to survive. I'm going to give you a feel for how we support AI and machine learning applications, and really some of the tricks and secrets we do to make sure that the products survive. And why that's important is, I mentioned we use commercial off-the-shelf technology, so we're able to really quickly turn the latest and greatest NVIDIA GPU or the latest Intel processor into a form factor that the AI and ML teams can be using. I'm then going to give you a couple of case studies, examples in some of these harsh environments where we've brought successful solutions. And I'll close by some things I think we could do to support customers in this space and move forward. And I do want to share, if there's parts of this presentation that interest you or there's things you want to learn about more, I'll be here afterwards. And we've also got a booth in Hall 3, booth number 102. So we'd love for you to stop by and we'll show some of the equipment in real time. For those of you that were here early, I shared that Crystal Group, we're in the middle of the United States, a small company that really focuses on three parts of our business. First, we're a computer manufacturer. So we build the boxes that get delivered to the platforms in the rugged environment. We do a lot of vertical integration to make sure we mill out the chassis. We do some things to the boards to make sure they survive, and we do the full system integration and test to very extreme environments in our space. We also fancy ourselves a system integrator. A lot of our customers say, we need this latest and greatest GPU, we need 4 of those, we need processors, we also need network interface cards, and we need proprietary cards. We put them all together and do it in a way that survives from a system integration perspective. And finally, we believe we're really good at customizing products for a particular application. In a few slides, when I show you our vision of the net, the cloud, and how the edge fits, we're really good at trying to make the form factor so it fits in the boot of a car or on the corner of a rack in an oil well and the like. So we pride ourselves in customizing, being very quick, developing new products, and delivering a quality product. On one slide, I've attempted to show you guys really the product family we bring forward. You'll see along the bottom how we've got it laid out. You'll see network switches, network servers, embedded computing products, all really customized. A lot of our compute products, and I'll point out our network server here and a bunch of drives here. We pretty much integrate storage in every processing element we do, because we see, especially at the edge, there's a need, as I said earlier, from the factory perspective, to make sure that there's plenty of compute and storage there. See network switches as well. We've really got pulled into the market of not only bringing the storage and compute, but as we put equipment in 19-inch racks in particular, our customers have said, I need the switches to be ruggedized also. So it may be a Cisco switch, in this case that's a Ruggedized switch, where we take their off-the-shelf product. I'll show you what we do and deliver a product that works. We do a little bit of system integration. You'll see on the left we put multiple products together in transit cases. It's a lot cheaper for us to do it as a small company than a lot of our prime customers. This is a slide I mentioned earlier. So there's a lot of versions of this picture around this show, showing what is the edge, how does it play with the cloud, and then how does it all connect together. And when I was pleased, this is right out of the textbook, and I was pleased that up there you'll see asterisks, and asterisks are those particular parts of this market where we Crystal Group actually are deploying products today. And there's a lot of really harsh, ugly environments there. See vehicles and trucks. I didn't realize how ugly the environment was in the boot of a car until we got asked to bring some of our rugged capability into the autonomous space. Not much ventilation there. Oil wells, the smart grid. We're fortunate, we're seeing this rugged edge is a big deal. And part of the reason we're at the show is to make sure as people around the show are thinking about IoT and the edge, don't forget about this part where there's not complete air conditioning, there's not complete heating systems. All those places where it would be more expensive to put an infrastructure in place than it would to actually just buy rugged equipment. Got a couple of slides here just showing you where we play today. And again, from my introductory comments, I've really plagiarized the intelligent edge. So this is rugged on the intelligent edge in the industrial and commercial space. These are some of the applications where you'll find our equipment. And again, what's under the hood, and I do encourage you to come see our product, you'll recognize NVIDIA GPUs, you'll recognize Intel motherboards, you'll recognize network switchboards. You'll see then what we do to it to make sure it survives. I'm going to give you an example a little bit later on, particularly in the autonomous vehicle market, as to how we've really come after that to help our customers. Likewise on the military, and today, military constitutes a little over half of our business. Ministries of defense around the world have very tough environmental requirements, from electromagnetic to vibration to temperature extremes. So it's a natural for what we do and do well. And we've been deployed under the water, on the water, up in the air. And actually on the airborne side, those of you who are in that space know that weight is everything. So we've actually patented a carbon fiber capability, so our chassis is about 30% less with that capability. A lot of good places for innovation in this space as well. Now I'm going to give you two slides on what we actually do to ruggedize things so they survive on the harsh edge, I'll call it. And take a look at the pictures on the right. You're going to see we mill out from aircraft grade aluminum, the chassis. One of the things we learned early in ruggedizing electronics is we cannot let that board twist at all. So we work hard on getting the chassis right, getting the mounting right, and then we'll do things to the components themselves. For example, if there's a capacitor sticking up in the air, we'll put a compounding material around it to keep it from vibrating off. So there's little things we can do that we've really made a good business of by ruggedizing this core piece, wrapping the right packaging testing around to give you a much faster, much coster way to get the newest technology into your spaces. A little bit more detail. In the upper right, this happens to be a switch. And one of the things I'm really proud of is this is one of our dust tests. So we are very comfortable operating in that environment. We've got a lot of equipment deployed in deserts, in places of the world where there's not peace, and that's a good place for us to be. So you can imagine running at a very hot temperature in this environment and surviving is important. One of the things we do, all those boards I mentioned that we buy from other people, we actually coat the board. That helps us make sure if there's any condensation, or in that case, the dust in the Middle East can turn to a paste. And we don't have many of our competitors that can have their equipment run through that. So again, this whole presentation is around that part of the market where IoT on the edge has really got to be in the really, I'll call it ugly or harsh part of the environment. When your AI applications have to run in a tough part of the world, this is what people like us and us are doing to make sure that the platforms are there. Because one of the takeaways I want you guys to have is the greatest AI or machine learning application in the world does no good if the processor overheats. And getting the heat out away from the system is a big deal, and that's our value add to this industry. This is an example where, in this case, we've taken a ruckus switch. The picture on the left is how we receive it. First thing we do is throw away the chassis. First thing we do is void their warranty, so that we're a great customer, because whatever we do to it, they don't have to have any warranty exposure. On the right, you're going to see that's a crystal rugged package around it. And if you look close here, you'll see a little bit what I was talking about. See the compound around some of the components? Seems like a simple technology, but it's very powerful. It makes that really good product even better. Putting that all together, our products go out, and I'll tell you, we go out of our factory with at least a 5-year warranty on everything. So we're very proud of the work we do, and that's proven to be a differentiator in our market.
If you waive the warranty, you have a deep screening.
Yeah, so the question was, I shared with you that we waive the warranty, so that means if they're giving you bad product, you better make sure it works on the way in. So absolutely, Thomas, part of our process is to make sure we're getting good product in and making sure our suppliers are doing testing and qualification before it comes to us. Now I want to give you 2 examples. I mentioned at the beginning I was going to drill down and give you a couple of scenarios that we live in every day. The first is power substation. And we know with the smart grid initiatives, we know with a lot of aging energy infrastructure, we know with new requirements as solar power, nuclear power, wind power gets moved in and out of the grid, there's more need for compute, storage, cyber protection at the edge. In every one of these cases, all of our power customers are constrained in how much space, how much power, and how much funding they have. What we've been able to do then is really provide some rugged servers. I will note that some of these substations are not very nice environments either. Dusty, hot, in aluminum, very hot in the summer in particular. What we've been able to do is put together a full integrated system where we're bringing the compute, the storage, we're doing some virtualization. Again, in my leading comments, I shared that one of the AI initiatives is to improve workflow. With some of the virtualization and hyperconvergence, we're seeing the need for less hardware out there as well too. And then we work with our customer to provide some of the cyber protection pieces that we can provide that fits into their overall cyber solution. Customize it. A lot of our power customers won't let us have fans. So we've got a product that's fanless. That's not hard, that's not easy to engineer to make sure that works in those environments, but that's a core competency we've got. I mentioned autonomous a little early. This has been a really interesting business for us. A couple of years ago, our partnership with Intel and some of the major automotive companies actually found us. They had been doing their testing of their algorithms with laptops in the boot of the car. And they found that worked okay until you went over the railroad tracks, or it got really cold or really hot, and we got called to come in and help. And what we've been able to do is create a nice little business within our business where we're customizing solutions. In this case, we were asked to provide almost every time latest and greatest GPU, latest and greatest processor, and I want it to run off the car battery. And it's got to be small, so I can put my golf clubs in the boot of the car. and this thing's got to run all the time. Pretty tough requirements, but we've done it very well, and we were able to customize this. In this case, we designed our own power supply because we couldn't find a commercial off-the-shelf power supply that provided that capability, so we did it, and that let us integrate it into the same package, save space. Now, some of our customers who want lots of GPUs, lots of processors, if you do the math, each one of those cards can generate between 200 and 250 watts of power. A lot of heat to dissipate. In those cases, some of the newer cars have liquid cooling. And as a once-time engineer, I would have never thought we would be sending water over electronics, but that's what we do. It's for those customers that have to have lots of processing, I mean lots and lots of GPUs. We've actually provided a capability. We've designed a pump and a radiator and the hose system that lets them move that around. It's been a nice little add for there as well too, but I'll share with you, I mentioned earlier we're quick and we like to customize. Because we're tagging on to a commercial business where the GPUs are turning every 12 months or 18 months or earlier, I'll get the call, hey, NVIDIA just came out with their latest GPU, can you cut that in right away? And by the way, those couple hundred cars in the field, we need to change those as well. Love that challenge. That's the value we bring. So as I wrap this up, and before I open it up for questions, I tried to put on one chart some of the takeaways I think are important from here. First, as you all know, and it's been noted all across, exploding number of artificial intelligence applications globally. What I've tried to share with you is that there's a part of that market that we tend to not think about a lot, but it's that rugged part, where the cost-benefit trade-off is, do I put a whole, I'll say, human survivable condition in place, or do I go to a much lower cost alternative and pick ruggedized hardware that can survive temperature extremes and the like. Now what I've tried to show you is that now that we've got intelligent on the edge in rugged environments, companies like ours and ourselves have solutions ready to go. So hopefully I've at least piqued your curiosity, and if you have needs where you've got to have equipment on the edge that's got to survive, we're a pretty good fit for that. And you'll see other companies around here as well that are playing in that. I've shared with you some of the things we do as Crystal Group to really provide what we think is a superior product and capability. And hope you recognize we're here to help you on the edge, and I look forward to visiting with you. At this point, I'll open it up for any questions anyone might have. And that counts you guys out there too. Interesting?
If you're saying you're requesting the OEM suppliers for special testing before you get the switch material,
Yes.
why would they not do the testing for any other components?
That's a fair. Thomas asked the question. I said earlier, for us to eyes wide open void our supplier's warranty, if we're requiring that supplier to extra test for us, why wouldn't they extra test for someone else? Well, in this case, everyone else is using their warranty. So I know we're getting a little bit extra testing because we said we want the extra testing, but in exchange, we won't hold you liable for anything we do to that board. Anything else I can highlight a little bit more? Yes. Yes.
Or environments are not really, really cold, like very, very much north or very much south.
So the question was, could I talk a little bit more about the low temperature or the varying temperature? And
Condensation and things like that.
actually, I alluded to it, but I didn't do a very good job. When I showed that picture with the dust, that turns to paste because of the temperature change. It goes from hot to cold, and we survive. So the cold temperature is actually a little bit easier for us. And I showed earlier, our typical product runs from minus 40 C to plus 55, although we can take that up to plus 70. And we do that every day. And what you'll find with us is, because of that, we aren't the cheapest computer provider out there, but we're the one that's going to survive. In those environments, we generally win the life cycle cost game because we've seen in some cases you may need to buy 3 of our competitors' products while one product keeps running. Is that okay? So low is important to us. We've got all of our own environmental test equipment, and then when we do official test scoring, we use outside laboratories to make sure that passes okay. Anything else I can answer for anybody? Okay. Well, thank you, Tom. Thank you for the opportunity to present, and I wish you guys a good rest of the conference. Thank you.